A church has to be a working place. A church is a good place. Look, a good church is a good place to get involved. This sermon's not meant to motivate you to get to work in this church necessarily, but it's meant to motivate you to know that you need to. You need to. Everybody's got something to do. Everybody's got a ministry. Remember this name, June Hendricks. June Hendricks. I hope she watches this online. I'm going to make sure that she does because we call her Aunt June. She's Bobby's aunt. And thank God for her, man. She's a godly woman, lives out on a ranch in a place called Pumpkin Center, Colorado. And unless you looked up on a really detailed map, you won't even be able to find it, so don't try. She lives in Pumpkin Center out on a 1,200-acre ranch, and she's a woman of God. And I tell you what, she's a worker, and she's been a good example to me in my life of someone that knows they have a ministry, even though there's been maybe she had pastors that would tell her that, women aren't supposed to do things in ministry. She would have pastors maybe that would minimize or belittle, the effect or the influence that God was calling her to have. I've just seen her keep it up, continue. And she was really someone who was influential to me as a young minister in realizing that, man, you just keep working no matter what. You just keep working. Don't get too, sedentary. Don't get too relaxed in God. If you are, you might be in a eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil position and place. You might be getting close. And so Aunt June's she's just a great woman, and she's always stayed involved. She's always stayed involved in churches. She's always stayed involved in ministry. She works in the prison there, just outside of Lyman, Colorado. And she told me this story the other day, and I thought, man, here's the beauty of someone that just keeps working for God no matter what. Just keeps getting back up and keep going after shit. What is she, 76 now? Shouldn't say that. I'd have to have Chris edit that out. But you would know she's 76 because she's vigorous, she's strong, she's motivated. And she works in the prison there, and she told me about there was a man in the prison system that she ministers to, the population she ministers to. And this particular man, nobody in the prison population liked him. The guards didn't like him, and the inmates didn't like him. He was just a nasty, nasty guy. He made enemies everywhere that he went. And in the process of time, he didn't really want to hear anything that any of the ministers that came, I guess, had to say. But in the process of time, somehow he got into a counseling with Aunt June. And Aunt June was telling me that she simply just challenged him to read his Bible. She just began to challenge him just to read the Bible. Just give God a chance. You don't have to believe anything, whatever. Just read the Bible. And he began to read the Bible. She said over a period of time, something happened to him. He eventually came back, and he was sitting in her office, and she said, he said to her, I have found the way. I have found that you were right. I have found that Jesus is God. And she said, then this tough guy that everybody hated, that was so hard-hearted, this guy began to just suddenly break down. It's almost like he didn't even really know how to cry, but he just began to have that breaking and catching himself and then crying. And she said it was such a beautiful thing. She said nobody really led him to God. It's just that we pushed him in the right direction. And as he began to just take whatever little steps that he could take, God brought him to himself. Man, how important it is to keep working with the gospel. Keep working with the word. Keep bringing this Bible, right? Keep bringing it before your eyes. If you do, it'll change you into God's image. It'll keep changing you.